Hi, welcome to this series of videos. Today we're talking about how Centrify can help you secure your Microsoft Azure environments. In this video we're going to focus on securing access to the Microsoft Azure portal. There are several approaches that we can use today to secure the Azure portal. For example, the first approach is how you can secure a shared account. A shared account could be a subscription account that was set up at the beginning. Perhaps it was set up as part of an Office 365 deployment or as a straight Azure deployment. Perhaps you have a shared account that lives in that Azure directory and you want to secure it. So there's several things that you want to control. One is you want to control who has access to the account. You can leverage this by using RBAC, but you can add an additional layer like workflow and approvals. For example, I can use ServiceNow to help me with the workflow capability, and that way I can get what is called documented approvals in a centralized system. In this case, I can go to the service catalog, I can go to software, and I can request out the access to an application via Centrify. Once I do this, all I need to do is browse for the application. So this is going to show me a lookup list, all the applications that are available for me to request access to. Notice that I have Windows Azure, and all I need to do is to put in a justification. In this case, this is a simple workflow that will self-approve itself, but you can add all the complexity that you need based on the requirements of your organization inside ServiceNow. So notice that I made the order, right? I can toggle back to here, and notice that I already have the new application here called Windows Azure, right? So I'll be able to get access, but notice that I've also added another layer of protection, and is multi-factor authentication. So in this case, I would have to, for example, get an email, provide my YubiKey, and I have my YubiKey here. So I can actually open Yubico Authenticator and provide the code that is required for me to be able to access this app. So the key here is adding additional controls to not only meet or exceed the requirements around this application based on the security classification of it. So with that in mind, I have two things. I have documented approvals, right? And I also have multi-factor authentication being enforced. Another thing that I'm also doing is that I'm not exposing the password to the end user. So the end user won't be able to do that. So I can jump from here to the portal and see the resources that I have available. Another way to actually secure access to the Azure portal is to leverage the Office 365 Federation that is enabled by Centrify. A great benefit of this is that you don't require additional infrastructure like ADFS or perhaps DirSync, and you can have a single place where you control federation, provisioning, and role and license management. So notice here, this is not a topic around Office 365, but all I need in here is one of my privileged accounts in Office 365. I can define who can get access to this app, right? In this case, it's controlled by provisioning. I can add a policy to it, including perhaps I only need this to be used from inside my network, right? I can add multi-factor authentication if needed, and I can control provisioning from a central place. Notice in here that I have a visibility over how many licenses I have available. In the case of O365, we support Exchange, hybrid Exchange support, and we have rules around syncing. For example, what's going to happen when a user gets added to Active Directory, put into a group, or removed. Several rules available. Finally, you have the mapping of roles, right? So you can have different roles to be mapped with different license types or roles in Office 365. So you can leverage existing capabilities that you already have. Finally, there's another layer, is accountability, right? So you want to make sure that you're able to find out where your logins are coming from. And if you need to look at a user, if you need to know what applications have been assigned to that user, you have a simple place where you can go and take a look at that. For example, I can look at applications assignments for this user, right? So in this case, notice that this user has both Azure and AWS as a console assigned, but at the same time, this user has a provisioned application, Office 365. So if we were to um, try to launch Office 365 from a federated perspective, notice that I'll be able to get that access. But at the same time, if I wanted to switch to portalazure.com, notice that I'll be able to log in with the same identity as well. And I'm hoping that this video actually allowed you to understand how we can secure console access to Azure, but not only meet and exceed the requirements of workflow and approvals, multi-factor authentication, policy, as well as accountability and attestation.